Hiya, how's it going? Let's see if I can figure this guy out first. Hi, my name is Daniel Quirke. My pronouns are he, him. I work in the Listowel Family Resource Centre as the LGBT plus community support worker for actually the entire county of Kerry. Right, so I'm sure some of you are from Kerry, been to Kerry, seen the place in general. Lovely part of the country. I always describe Kerry as big and squiggly, as you can see on this map here. A lot of very small little rural towns with quite small populations and no big kind of hub bar truly really, but we have a big enough population of 155,000 people, but it's very, very spread out across about 5,000 square kilometres. And there's not a lot of public transport. So a big thing that we'd come across is people are feeling very isolated, and particularly when you're coming from a marginalised community and you're living in a small community, it's very hard to find other people like you. The Oireachtas estimated in 2019 that about 10.8% of the population is LGBT. So that's about 16,700 people in Kerry. Now, we actually estimate it's at least double that. So it's a lot of people, but finding them and getting them together is kind of a big challenge for us, and that's where I came in. So my job was actually funded through the Department of Children, Equality, Disability, Integration and Youth. Yes, I did write that on my hand. It's very long. So I've been working in Listowel Family Resource Centre for just over a year now. I started last February, and I'm a dedicated full-time staff member for this role, which is fantastic because it is very, very busy. So, where my post came from, and a lot of the work that I do came from a piece of research done in 2019. Listowel Family Resource Centre has been working with the LGBT community in Kerry and kind of heading particularly adult services since 2007. And in 2019, they did this research called Visible in Kerry, an LGBT plus perspective. And actually all of the key recommendations that came of that we have now fulfilled, which is amazing. These are some of the things that we get up to. This is what keeps me so busy. So we have Seen in Kerry, which would be our LGBT plus social group for adults, so it's 18 plus, and we have people from 18 to 80 in that group, which is fantastic. We have coffee evenings, we go bowling, kayaking, movie nights, anything they kind of come to me and ask, can we do? We try and fit that in. We played Wii Sports last month and had a great time. We also have Trans Kerry Support Group, which is again aimed at adults, and that meets once a month in the evenings on a Friday evening. It's great. We always think that we've kind of found everyone. We can't have, we've got them all now. Can't be that many more. Every single month we're having 1, 2, 3 new people, which is amazing. We actually have a new person again joining this week. So we're constantly kind of pulling people out of wherever they've been hiding and getting them involved and getting them, socialized. One big thing that comes up an awful lot is since COVID, people felt very isolated and kind of thought, oh, I'm the only one, there's nobody around me. And we're constantly surprised as to how many of us there actually are. So now that we're into kind of the nicer months of the year, we also have Trans Kerry community walks. So we meet up once a month on a Sunday afternoon, get a coffee, go for a walk in a park or a woodland, and that's open to bring family, friends, or partners along as well, and kind of just have a nice wander about in nature. And what we do, I think, is particularly important with these is that they're all a safe space. We don't publish locations of anything. If you need to come to, particularly the trans group, you need to contact the group, message on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you saw it, text message, email, whatever it is, and ask where the location is, because then that's that added sense of security of, well, no one knows kind of where I'm going or what I'm doing, because no one knows what that building is used for or what that location is going to be. We also have a peer mentoring program, so that is again to combat kind of rural isolation in Kerry. We actually have the funding for volunteers, trained volunteers, to go out and meet you where you are. So no matter what kind of tiny village in the middle of nowhere you're living in, we can come and we can get to you if you can't get to us. As I said, our public transport is not great, and you could be down in Dingle 2 hours away from one of the groups, but we can come to you. We're also running for the second year in a row our self-actualization group. It's actually started this evening, back in person, which is great, and we have a lot more people joined this year again, and some people coming back from last year, and that's all about building kind of self-confidence and self-worth and self-love. And some of those people who've been going through our one-to-one counselling are going to be joining that group, and some of them leaving the house for the only time that week and getting them out into a group setting and working on improving themselves. We also ran yoga classes last October, which were very successful as well, and we've actually had requests to bring that back as well with mindfulness. And again, it's in a safe space. It's a place where people feel comfortable. If you need to get changed when you get there, we provide all of these offers or options to people. I also do a lot of talks, which I don't love, but it is what it is. So guest lecturing in MTU and Kerry College for different groups. We would have people training to be SNAs, mental health nurses, social care students, that sort of thing, kind of about awareness and how they can implement more inclusive practices, as well as youth awareness workshops and school talks for teenagers and other young people. And we actually ran in February of this year an employer awareness workshop that went very, very well for employers to learn more about making their place of employment more inclusive, but also about policy, about legislation, and they were given a goodie bag of loads of resources as well to make their place of employment safer and more comfortable for their staff members. And we've actually had requests from multiple different places to come back and either to run it again in a different area than we were in, or to come into their place of work and train their staff in that as well. So I'd work alongside a lot of other community groups. We'd work, as I said, I work with the other FRCs. I also would be going into speaking with hotels, speaking with Gardaí, speaking with GPs, all that sort of thing for inclusive practice. This is just some of the stuff that we did last year. As I said, we have many, many different things going on. We kind of meet the needs as they come up, or if we see something that looks a bit fun, we kind of throw that in there as well. And some of these things went quite well, and we actually get requests to do them again. So the likes of the kayaking, we'll be running 2 kayaking sessions this summer for Pride as well. We try to get a bit of active stuff in there. A lot of the times people think of LGBT social scene, you think of bars, and we're very much not about that. We're about more healthy things. We have yoga, we have kayaking, we have walks, we're getting out in nature, even just sitting having a coffee, having a chat, that sort of thing. These are some more bits and bobs that we had going on this year. Some of them are actually this month. As I said, the group is restarting. We also had a workshop with Dr. Lisa Brinkman for our trans community and their families to just learn a bit more about themselves and what we have on offer in Ireland. Ireland is, and I hate to say it, it is a bit surprising how progressive we are and how much we have available to our community. And one of the things that I'll actually be running this year as well is a talk for people who are new to Ireland on what rights they have here as well. Here are some photos just from last year. As I said, we went kayaking, we went bowling, we had a coffee morning. This one over here is from our trans swim, which we'll be running this year again for the 3rd year in a row, just going to the beach. And again, it's a closed location. We also had all 9 Kerry libraries run a full week of resources for Pride last year, and they'll be doing the same again this year. We do have quite a good online presence. We're on Facebook, Instagram, we have our own website, that sort of thing, so people can keep up to date, as well as I run a mailing list for people who don't have access or don't kind of use social media, so that they can find out that there's plenty going on. It's not just kind of one weekend or 1 week a year. This is one of the posters that I have out at the moment. It's actually, I only made these about 6 or 8 weeks ago, and there's actually another group after starting up since. So I have to constantly update them, which is amazing. But when I started just over a year ago, we had 3 youth groups in Kerry. We now have 6, which is brilliant. And they're spread out around the county and accessible to people, as well as all the other groups that we've got going on. And even if I'm not involved in them, I do get a lot of calls to signpost people to them as well. This was our 2022 lineup for Pride. So we had 16 events across kind of 2 and a bit days, which was fantastic. And it went actually so well that this year it's going to be a full week of events covering as much of the county as we can. And we're running, I think it's 34 events across the week in July. So it'll be the 10th to the 16th. I might not survive it, but we'll see how we get on. But yeah, it's most of what I do anyway is when people come to me and they say, oh, I can't get to the group, or I can't do this, or I can't do that, we have to adapt the service provision. We had a lot of people who couldn't make it to our trans group because it's on quite late on a Friday evening. It's 6:30 to 9, and they were getting out of work, or they wanted to get home and have dinner, that sort of thing. And since we started providing a meal, we get a takeaway on that one Friday a month, we've actually increased the amount of people attending that group 4 times over, which is fantastic. And it's just that one kind of simple thing of, why aren't people coming? They want to eat something, we'll just feed them. Yeah, and it works. It works. So kind of listening to people and what they want is greatly improving what we're offering. So that's me. Thank you very much.